Well, we've started removing things for the fall garden, but we're going to show you what we had. Some raspberries. Here's some tomato varieties here and some basil. These are, whoops, we're dropping herbs, We went to collect herbs today and we collected a bunch of peppers too. Bear with me for a second. All right. So we've got some tomatoes that haven't produced yet. This was our fennel. It's expired. This was an eggplant. This was a tomato cage full of tomatoes. These are strawberries over here. This is some flowers for pollinators, and this was also some lilies that were planted. I see got some black-eyed Susans that are growing now that it's cooler. This tomato cage is just now starting to put off good tomatoes, but the weather is changing. Let's see if we can get, that's a good tomato right there. There's another little tomato right there. But yeah, the weather is changing, so they're not going to last long. I guess we just got a really late start this year. It was really so hot for so long that tomatoes didn't produce. They were shut down. But one thing that did produce was my peppers. We had so many jalapenos this year. These are a lot of sweet potatoes. They were doing really good, but we have a rabbit that comes around here and it eats all my sweet potatoes. As you can see, it's pretty much ate this plant all the way up. Of course, I don't mind. I interplant, so these were carrots. I left them so that the caterpillars could get them, and they ate them all the way down to the root, but they have started to grow back with the cooler weather. And also this is basil. Here are just some more peppers. This is a sage right here. Some more peppers. Some more peppers. This was a whole like 3 or 4 pepper plants. These were some flowers. Forgot what this is called. It might take me a minute to name it. It's like a person's name. Let's see. Here's some more some tomatoes that didn't make it. This is some cabbage and broccolini. This pepper is a a habanero plant, and it's not going to be able to get to maturity because it's too cold. This is some mint. This is an eggplant, and over here was a sunset tomato, and it did really good growing out of this bag. It did all right. It grew way on up high and produced several tomatoes. They were orange. We had a cucumber growing in here. This thing produced 3 or 4 cucumbers right out of this cooler that we used to plant it. It's so good. It has drains in it. We cut drain holes in it. This is a sage bush. And here is some bush varieties of tomatoes and some eggplants growing out of a pot. These are shishito peppers, and more habaneros and more cabbage. And that is this bed. Okay, let's go look at the other bed real quick. This was a bag that we grew strawberries out of, and it did very good. We were very impressed with that. This is a fig tree that I've had in this pot for like 3 years and never put it in the ground. It comes back every year. This is the echinacea tree. No, elderberry. This is a squash that is still growing. Surprise. This was a lemon cucumber. One day we forgot to water it, and this is what happened. But it produced pretty good, and it gave us like 5 or 6 cucumbers. This is an eggplant that hasn't produced yet this year, and some more broccolini from our fall garden. This was a poblano that isn't going to have time to produce. Just took forever. And some tomatoes. Sorry, there was a mosquito on me. I had to kill it. There's some tomatoes over here that didn't have time to produce. We just really got started late, and the weather really screwed us up. And a lot of things I've already moved. They were on the table, which a lot of them were. They've been moved out of my garden and into my greenhouse. Some chard and some onions. And a cabbage we got growing here. This pepper, it did so good, but all it did was put on a ton of leaves. And then by the time it grew all of this, it was too late. It's got a couple, but it's, as you can see, the flowers aren't doing too good because we've had 2 nights that were below 40 degrees. So then here's my herb table. I've moved a lot of them already, but we've got thyme, several varieties of mint and oregano. This is an artichoke, some basil, lots of basil. This is an empress tree, also been in a pot for like 3 years. This is a pine tree. It has also been in this thing for like 3 years. It's a bonsai pine tree at this point. This is my baby pool, and it had a pepper in it this year. It had a bunch of onions. It still has a bunch of onions. They need to be collected, and we've just really been using them for tops. And this is a kale plant. This is the cucumber back here. It's doing fabulous because it's cool weather. It's gonna get too cold for it. And then we've got a ton of fall weather cabbages that will be all right. This, I believe, is a Veronica romesco. We planted it back in the summer. It almost died, and because of the cool weather, it's come back. This is a bell pepper, and it has been producing pretty good. And this is some lemon balm, which I make tea with. And this is some eggplant. It's got 3 or 4 little eggplants on it, maybe 5. This is a raspberry, and this is a strawberry beside it. And some more tomatoes and peppers. And another squash that is still surviving. I don't see how it's been here since the heat. These are some artichokes for our fall garden. This is a house plant that I'll be taking in. Of course, this Galax has got out of control, and I don't know what I'm going to do about that. The same with this pepper here. Probably needs to come off. But we've got some creeping Jenny on the inside of it, and it is out of control. Some mint. We have a lot of mint this year. I'm harvesting. This is a strawberry bed. And then these are some more. This is my plant table, my planting table, and these are some more cabbages, some more strawberries, some more basil, and mint. This is some Nepali cactus. We have a lot of that. This just happens to be up here. And another cucumber. And back here, over here in the side, was a little eggplant plant that never produced. I'll try to dig it up and put it in a pot and stick it in my greenhouse and see what happens. We've got a lot to do to get this summer garden turned over to a winter garden, a fall garden, in a short amount of time, but we'll get it done.